morning, everyone. Step up and get a little smudged for the day. Today, it's the fledglings. It's me and Bex without Rhonda. And so Bex is taking technical control today, and I am so proud and excited because today we have a returning guest. He is a miracle mindset counselor. But what does that mean? Well, we're going to find out. But what I feel in his energy when he interacts with us is he does have that calming, grounding, and centering. I could feel the centering. And then I could feel all the layers of support. You know, our team's coming in. And so he inspires that in me. And I know listening to him, he's very inspirational just listening to this humble and meek teacher. So welcome, Ron.
Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you again for having me and letting me come back on it to the show. It's always a pleasure to be here with either just you and Beck, or with Bex and Teresa, or with Rhonda, Bex and Teresa. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited about today's topic because it is, I think, something that so many of us uh, go through, and we don't even realize how much, if we just really practice part of these principles, how much easier and more effortless and carefree, I think that's the biggest one, our lives could really be. So I'm really excited to jump into that topic.
Absolutely. I love how you say that we let you come on, because let me tell you, when you come on, it's like, it's not a letting. It's like you're just part of the group. You're part of the team. So, it's divinely orchestrated. There's no letting. You're letting us invite you on and hang out with us. So it's our gift, our honor, to be able to hang out with you. And I just have to share with everybody that Ron has been such a pivotal powerhouse in my shifting along this journey of being in resistance all the time, of not allowing the divine, of being, very much lost for a while. There was a point when last year he showed up at the most beautiful time, of course, and I was in a very challenging place in my life. And Ron was able to help me shift through that. And I find that my flow is so much more smooth and beautiful. And I learned how to really get into a space of allowing, which, I mean, I still have my lessons, of course. I still have my bumps, but Ron has really helped me to shift through them so much faster. It was such a pleasure, Ron, really. And I appreciate you every single day. Every time I face something challenging, I think, what would Ron say? And it really helps.
Well, wonderful. I was glad to be there, to be of service. And that really is part of letting go of control, because letting go of control really means letting go of resistance. And letting go of resistance means allowing a divine flow, the divine flow, to truly come in and really just wash not only over you, but wash through you. And that's where that carefreeness can come from, because then you're no longer worried about what you have to do, or what you should do, or what you would have done. Instead, you are just allowing yourself to just be used. And I will tell everyone right here, right now, it's not about, because Ron's so spiritual, or Bex is so spiritual, or Teresa's so spiritual, or they have better energy than I do. They're more aligned, or they're more psychic, or it has nothing to do with any of that. All it simply is a shift in our perception. And it is a willingness to do so, because that's all that it takes. That's all Spirit is ever asking for, is your willingness to let go of your plan, your agenda, and allow spirits to come through. And for those of you that don't know, I just recently moved to a new house, which is actually what inspired all of this to come about, because we had a plan. We had a whole entire week planned out what we were going to do, what we were going to move in, how it was going to work out. And it's beautiful to have intentions. And I don't want to tell you don't have intentions. Always intend for the happiest, always intend for peace, always intend for the highest and greatest good. But do your best to set the intention, not a plan for how that intention is put forth, which is what we all have a tendency to do, including myself. Like, you're like, yes, I intend for this to be a wonderful, great, fantastic, thing to happen. And then we are playing out what that wonderful, great, and fantastic thing, how it's going to come, who's going to bring it to us, and so forth and so on. So we want to be willing to set the intention, but it's that old line, set it and forget it. That's it. And that's not what we do. So if we're willing to let go of our agenda. So here was our agenda. We were going to basically be all moved in by July 17th. Like that was our plan. July 17th, we were going to move in. We had packed up our house like the week before. We were ready. We had movers coming. We had people to come like remove junk. We had maids coming to like clean our rental. And we had carpet cleaners because that was something else that they had, asked us to do because we'd been there for 9 years. So we're like, totally fine. We can do that. And so we start this process, and then I would say, I think it was the 12th. Well, I hate to do this to you guys, but we can't find your sinks, so we can't we can't start the closing process because the house was supposed to be closed on the 16th, which is why we were going to move in on the 17th, and then the 18th and the 19th and the 20th, all that, go over and, and do that stuff. And so we're like, okay, deep breaths, because we already have all this stuff planned. So we have to call everybody and we're like, hey, unfortunately it's been moved back, but then we're not getting any word from the builder on like when we are going to close. And, we do have, we were able to extend our lease until only the 21st. So we didn't have that much more time, but they were like, we can extend it, don't worry about it. And we're like, okay, thank you. And so it looked like everything was falling apart. Like it just looked like maybe this isn't meant to be. Maybe bad things are happening. And of course, my plan up here was we were supposed to be moved in. We were supposed to be doing this. Why isn't this happening? And I will tell you all my own personal thoughts that started to go through my head. Even though I practice spirituality, even though I practice A Course in Miracles, I still go into fear and I still have these thoughts, but I'll show you the key to kind of undoing those thoughts. So immediately, though, my thought was, maybe this isn't supposed to happen. Maybe just because the lot was 111, and maybe because we got a $1,111 back, and maybe because, even though we're getting all of these signs, 111, 222, you're getting money back. You don't have to do this. We're going to put money in your escrow for you. You have no closing costs. Like, I was like, but maybe it's not supposed to be. Maybe this is a sign. And, just those fearful thoughts right there. And I was just like, wow. Okay. So first, always remember to breathe. We don't remember to do that enough. Our breathing, usually when things start to spiral in a direction that we are not clear on. And I want you to notice, I didn't say spiraling out of control. It's just spiraling in a direction that I didn't think we were going to go into. But once again, it's always for your divine direction. Like that's always where you're headed, in your divine direction. So, of course, we always take those deep breaths. As we take those deep breaths, as we just allow ourselves to just kind of breathe and just focus on breathing. Everyone's like, well, why do you always say breathe? Because in focusing on your breathing, you're coming back to the present moment. You're coming back to what is, not what you think should be or what you think should have happened or what could have happened. You bring yourself back into the now moment. In that now moment, you can start, just like I did, questioning those thoughts. Okay, who is the I that's thinking these? Well, it's not the spirit. in me, because the spirit in me already knows all is well, already knows I don't have to worry about a thing. So these are egoic thoughts. Okay. And it's okay to have them. It's fine. They're there. We recognize them. And then we say, okay, but why am I fearing this? Well, this must be coming from one of ego's three primary beliefs. Either it's coming because I believe I am lacking something, because I mean, if we look at it, it looked like I was lacking time, lacking resources, all that. Or it comes from number two, which is control. So what am I controlling? I'm trying to be like, this is supposed to happen, that's supposed to happen. And then number three, attachment. I was attached to moving in on a specific date, a specific time, so forth and so on. So I was able to come back and then be like, okay, well, I forgive myself. And, for me, that's just something that I practice, forgiveness. So I just was willing to forgive myself for investing in my own agenda, investing in my own plan, and believing that I knew the way to happiness. Because I don't know the way to happiness. If I knew the way to happiness, then I wouldn't be upset, would I? But I was. And that's okay. We accept that. And that's another thing. Just because you're on the spiritual path doesn't mean that you're not going to have these opportunities for growth, because that's what this was for me. It was a really big opportunity for growth. And I can be the happy learner and be grateful for it. Or I can be the indignant learner and be like, oh, this was so painful. This was so hard. Well, of course it was hard and painful, because I would have been in resistance instead of, you know what? Let me back up here and let me release this over to you, Spirit, because you know what to do. You know how to do it, and you know how to make everything work. I may think I know, but I have no idea. So we get all that, and then our wonderful realtor, and I will give her a shout out just because she's fabulous, Stacy Ziegler. She went to bat for us, and she was like, my clients need to be in like no later than this. This is what needs to happen. This is how it needs to happen. Like, you need to get on top of this. And I was just like, Spirit, we're giving it over to Stacy because we don't know what to do. We're giving it over to you. So the funny thing is, Spirit gave me this beautiful image of her, and I just laughed at it because she's very short. And they gave me the vision of like this little kitten with this big old mane, and just like, all of that. And it's like, she's tiny but mighty. And I was like, oh, I love it. So of course, 2 days later, okay, closing is set. And you know what? We apologize for the inconvenience, and we're going to put money in your escrow because, of all this trial and tribulation that we've put you through. We're really sorry about that. We're going to give you $700 in your escrow. Also, on top of it was only supposed to be $1,100 back. Instead, we're going to give you 1,734. And once again, this is what it is to work with Spirit. You don't know all of the beautiful blessings that are going to come, because Spirit doesn't just bless you. It's not just like, here you go, here's just what you asked for. No, because it knows that we are worthy of so much more than that. And so it gives us, even more blessings. So everything was seeming to work. And then here comes, because there's still resistance, here comes another bump. So the movers are like, we're going to be there between 8:30 and 11. We should have you moved in. No worries. We're like, okay. Well, it's now 11:45 and they're still not there. And so we call and they're like, we're so sorry. The crew that was supposed to do you, one person has COVID, so the whole team has to be quarantined. So we're trying to find you another team. We're going to make your day stress-free. And that's what I really loved about this place. It was like, we're stress-free movers. And I'm like, okay, stress-free is the way to be. And, we had this crew come over, super sweet, super nice. And we got 50% off because they were late. So, we're getting, once again, here's just another blessing. They came in, they disassembled all the beds, came to our new home, reassembled all the beds, we're willing to like kind of play with us a little bit with like, could you just move this over here? And could you move this over here? And once again, releasing that control. I have no control over these people, having COVID or not having COVID. I have no control over any of that. All I can do is accept that in this moment, that all that is occurring is not happening to me. Because if I start taking it personal, that's when those thoughts, God hates me, he's trying to tell me bad things are happening to me, or I'm cursed, I have bad luck, nothing's ever working out for me, I can never have nice things, so forth and so on. That's when those thoughts come up, because you're trying to control it. The moment you let go of the control, guess what happens? Everything just starts to kind of flow. So then everything seems to be, we get moved into our house, everything's great. But then we go back to our old house because we had to let the carpet cleaners in. They're like, oh, hey, we're about 30 minutes away. So we headed over back to our house. We go in, there's no power. And we're like, there was supposed to be power till today. It's supposed to be turned off tomorrow. Like, what's going on? Once again, panic starts to go. And I'm like, no, take a breath, because that's all that you can do. So I remember I took a breath and I was like, let me reset my goal, because my goal must have been to let the cleaners in and get this done, get it over with, close it. I don't have to deal with it anymore. So I had to change my goal. What is my goal? My goal is peace. So I had to reset that goal. As I reset that goal, I was like, you know what, Spirit, I'm going to hand this over to you. I want the miracle. Now, when you say these words, I want the miracle, you're not asking for your plan to be brought through, because all too often when we say, God, I want a miracle, we're saying, God, I want the plan that I have in my head to now come to fruition. I want you to make it work, and I want you to make it work now. Let's go. You're not really asking from a point of love. You're asking more from that point of, this is what I want, this is how I want it, and if you don't give it to me, then that means you don't love me. And you're kind of doing it with a condition. Like, if you do this, God, then I'll do these things. But if you don't, then, oh well, you can just forget it. And remember, the divine is always open, always there for us, always willing to support us. But we have to be willing to let go of that plan. So I asked for the miracle. And of course, we're calling people. My mom's on one line, I'm on the other. We're trying to find out. And my mom is just over it. She is frustrated. She is angry. She had already had, kind of a day at work, and she was just over it. And I was like, you know what? I am the saner person in this moment, because I can't say I was not completely at peace, but I was enough where I could be like, okay, you know what? Let me talk to these people. So I get on the phone and I'm just explaining situations to people. And I'm just like, this is what's going on. And everyone's like, I'm so sorry. And, apologizing. And but there's nothing we can do. And I said, okay, and there's nothing you can do. Like, I don't know what to do here. Once again, releasing control. I don't know what to do either. So we just kind of leave. And I'm like, we're going to leave this alone for right now. Like, there's nothing we can do. You're frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. So let's just leave it. So we leave it. We have to go buy a new dog toy for my dog, because we had lost it. So we're like, oh, well, let's go get him a new one. And the shop's just right down the street. And so we go there, and then we're on the way home. And I was like, okay, let's call the rental company's corporate office, because we need to get some answers and what we need to do, because we don't know what to do. And so we call, and my mom's like, okay, I'm going to call. And I said, hold on. Here's what I said, Mom, we need to get this both into our heads. Number one, the person on the other line of the phone is not doing this to us. They did nothing. They are only trying to be of service. So we need to remember that. I said, number two, we have to remember that this is not happening to us. This is happening from us. So let's just be willing to let it all go, be willing to forgive ourselves. We did just a quick, I forgive myself. I was like, I forgive myself for believing in lack. I forgive myself for believing in scarcity. I forgive myself for believing in whatever else was happening in that time. And then from there, said, okay. And then I said, let's set our goal as peace. And instead of being like, oh, dear God, this is what I want, we were more just praising that it was already going to happen. And for me, I say, dear God, you can say, dear universe, it's whatever works for you. It's just whatever you ascribe to your higher power. But I was just like, okay, dear God, thank you so much that we're going to have such a wonderful person on the other line. Thank you that this person is going to be able to bring forth a peaceful resolution for everyone involved. Now, notice, I'm not saying I want them to give me my money. I want them to not do this. I want them to just thank you that it's all going to work, that it's all working out in divine order. I don't know what that divine order looks like, but thank you for showing me. So we get on the phone. My mom's explaining the situation. The lady is just like perplexed. And she's like, what? And I was like, we're just like, we don't know. Like, this is what's happening. She goes, let me do a quick investigation. So she's like, I want to put you on a hold. So she puts us on like a 10-minute hold. She's like, I'm doing some calls, please stay on the line. I'm sorry for keeping you on hold. She's like, but there's a lot of people that I've had to call. And I was like, you do what you need to do, ma'am. So she does all these calls. And then she's like, once again, she's like, and this isn't even their corporate office. This is just the office here in Indiana. They're like, on behalf of our company, we apologize for this. It appears there were too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And, no one communicated with everyone else. And so this is where there was this big like breakdown in communication where, it's seen in our files. You asked for an extension. It was seen that the extension was approved. It was seen that it wasn't supposed to be turned off until the 22nd. So we don't really, but someone else said, well, they're not there anymore. So we're going to turn it off because they're not there, not knowing that we had asked for the extension because we had these other services coming in, so forth and so on. And she was like, don't worry about it. We're not going to charge you for it. Like for getting the carpets cleaned, we will take that upon us. Because that was our mistake. And, just please, we just apologize. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you so much. So once again, releasing that control of what I thought it needed to be, how I thought it needed to be, and letting that all go brought forth the most peaceful resolution, not only for me, but for everyone else involved. And that is the key. When you set your goal as peace, when you ask for the miracle and you release your agenda, your plan on what you think that should be, that is when the shift in perception, because that is all a miracle is, truly comes through for you because you shifted from a fearful way of thinking to a loving way of thinking or to a happier way of thinking, however you want to look at that. But it's just allowing yourself to say, I do not know. And I'm okay with not knowing, because in our society, we can see that it's not really smiled upon to not know something. Someone wants an answer. They want an answer now. Why are you not on that email? Why is that not already answered? Why is that not already done? And if you just allow yourself to just be used, you will be surprised at how many things that don't have to be answered right then, right there. People are more than willing to give you a step back. Even here on the show, I told them, I said, well, I'm moving into a new house. So I don't really know if I'll have internet or not, but we'll see what happens. And then, I said, I'll reach out to you guys on the 25th. And they were like, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. I said, great, wonderful. Then on the 25th, I got internet. And then they were like, oh, we need a topic for the show. I said, great, wonderful. I'll get back to you on Thursday. And then I think it was 2 days after that or a day after that. I was like, nope, I already have it. Here we go. Here's the topic that we're going to talk about. So it all, once again, worked out. And what did I have to do, or what did they have to do? Nothing. Everything was carefree. It was ease. It was effortless. It was flow, because none of us were trying to make anything happen. We were allowing the plan, whatever that was, to unfold for the highest and best good for everyone involved. And that is the key. Letting go of your agenda, letting go of your plan, because once you step into this beautiful state of surrender, that's when that bliss comes up, because you are so carefree. You're not worried about, who do I have to call in order to make this work? It's more like, okay, who am I guided to talk to? Who am I guided to talk to? Not who do I need to talk to get this to work? Who am I guided to talk to right now? I'm guided to go get my dog a new toy, because that brings me joy. I enjoy getting him toys. It makes me happy. And oh, look, now that I'm in this joy, now that I'm in this happiness, now I get the inspiration to call the office, and just not even the corporate office, just the local office. And then what happens? Because we forgive, because we are still in that state of peace, we're setting our goal as peace, we're realizing that this person is not doing anything to us, and that the world is not happening to us, but happening from us, that all of a sudden everyone gets, the talking to that they need to, and all the wires get, reconnected, and everything just smooths out. And that's how it can be. But you have to, and I know I keep on repeating it over and over, but it bears repeating because I forget it all the time as well. Let go of your plan. Let go of your agenda. Keep your intention. Not saying don't have an intention, not saying don't have goals, but be willing to be flexible and be moved as those intentions and goals either evolve or drop away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so powerful. I just want to say real quick, we have all these amazing people joining us. You brought your powerhouse girls, Deb and Marianne. They came on and said hi real quick, which is awesome. They were part of the trio of amazing card readers that actually inspired me to get started. So it's pretty cool. I was getting a little fangirly over here. So there is also Nancy. We love our Nancy, and Juju Divine from the Breakthrough Show Network. We also have Karen Lee, who is very excited and says that she keeps asking you to put out a book of what you would say, because it's when I say what he says, how he asks, it works for me. Yeah, I love that. I love that you're talking about just asking for a miracle, because I had a huge transformation this past week doing exactly that. And not even like, it was just a moment of desperation. I was really bottoming out. I was having a really tough time mentally and emotionally, just getting really stuck in my own shit, not being able to get out of it, and just feeling like just really low. And I was just like, okay, I need a miracle. Just, it was a moment of desperation. Just show me a miracle. And within maybe 2 hours, a person who has been very near and dear to my heart that I haven't seen for a long time made a surprise visit. It was a child that grew up with my children, and he was one of my kids, and it just absolutely floored me. I was just completely shifted powerfully in just 2 hours. And then from there, my son, my oldest, who I don't get to see very often, he ended up spending the night, him and his girlfriend, and I got to spend time with them the next day. And then I had another moment of like, oh no, things aren't working out, because I couldn't find, I'm getting ready for vacation. I'm leaving for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't find my bathing suits. I have 2 of them. Couldn't find them anywhere. So I'm like, now I have to go buy a bathing suit, which is literally the bane of my existence. Bathing suit shopping and we're not friends, because there's nothing fun about trying on bathing suits, right? But on the way into the store, I see a truck, says Miracle Farms on the side of it. I'm like, okay. So I go in, I try on these bathing suits. Some of them were hilarious, but I found one that I didn't hate. I bought it, brought it home, was cutting the tags off. It says by Miracle Brands. No joke. I was like, okay, all right, cool. And it's just been, things have been flowing so smoothly since. So it's been amazing. And it just works so well. And you don't even realize it until, you try it. When you let go and you let God, things work out way better than you could have ever expected. So absolutely.
Yes. So because powerful. God doesn't work at a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or even 9.9. It is a perfect 10. It is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 across the board. And that's what we don't realize. And when we are not seeing that perfect 10, all that means is that we're still holding on to some aspect of the situation, whatever it may be. We're still holding on to it and saying, well, I'll take care of this. The divine will take care of everything for you if you let it. If you let it. And that's the key. It's a willingness. It is a willingness to say, I'm willing to let go of all of this. And the reason we don't want to do that is because we are still so afraid that the divine doesn't know us, that it doesn't care about us, that it has its own plan, and it wants you to be homeless. It wants you to be in poverty. It wants you to be, sickly and dead and death and all that. That's not the divine plan. The divine plan is for all beings to be happy and free. That is the divine will. But like Bex was saying, when you're in resistance, when you are still trying to control, when you are still trying to like figure it out, the divine can not do for you what you are not willing to give. So it can't take everything from you if you're not willing to give over every single aspect. And believe you me, I know it is terrifying. You know, when I left my job from, you know, I worked there from the age of 18 to the age of 30. Okay, that's a very long stint of time doing one thing and one thing only. You know, granted, it's, you know, different days, different things, but it's still the same thing. And then, you know, quitting there and doing this full time and being like, okay, this is what you keep calling me to. So I'm doing it. And just having to trust and be like, okay, well, hopefully something, hopefully something will happen. Like, let's see. And then having this beautiful, like, this was one of my biggest things as I started was I think it was a week after I had like made the decision to quit, called and was like, I'm not coming back. Like, it's just not happening. Um, a week after that, I got a call from or a Facebook message from someone who was like, hey, I work for a travel agency. I've been watching you for a while. I now see that you have free time. Would you like to come to Bali and maybe host a retreat? And I was like, this is a scam. Like, first thing in my head, this is a scam. Like, this is not real. People don't get this. And fully vetted the person. They were legit. And I was like, oh, like, you talk about providing. Oh, you set the price, you set the curriculum. But see, I was in fear at the time because I still didn't believe that something good like that could happen to me. I was still trying to control it. And so unfortunately, it fell apart, just fell apart. And it fell apart not because it wasn't supposed to happen, not because I'm not a good person, not because I didn't follow the miracle principles. It fell apart because I was in such resistance to it that the divine was like, okay, well, you obviously really don't want this because you are terrified, you are in fear, you're not willing to give it over to me. So I can't necessarily give it to you because then it would look like I'm attacking you, which I will never do. I will only love you. I will only give to you. And so from there, you know, like I said, it fell apart. And then I, you know, of course, I felt bad. I was like, oh, such a failure, da 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 da, so forth and so on. But then then the divine really did just kind of come to me and was just like, you didn't fail at anything. I gave you an opportunity, but you were afraid of the opportunity. And so in my infinite love for you, I took it away. But I'll give you more if you want more. But you know, basically, you have to be willing to let me do it for you because I was terrified. What am I going to talk about? I had literally just started studying A Course in Miracles. This person's like, I've never heard anyone talk about A Course in Miracles like you have. I actually get it. And I was like, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, there are things that I don't know. And there are page numbers I don't know. You know, I hear other people and talking about, oh, just go to page 90. What's on? I don't know what's on page 90. What's on page 90? I don't know. And so, you know, just having all of these doubts, all of this resistance. And so it happened. Okay, great. But we continue to move on. And it was just another lesson in letting go of control. And this is something that Bex and I were talking about before we got on, was either you can be the agonized learner. Okay, you can go through painful lessons, or you can be the happy learner. Now, what is the difference? The happy learner is one who is grateful for their lessons. Wow, thank you for showing me that I still really have a lot of control issues. Wow, thank you for showing me that. That's what this situation is showing me. Thank you for that. And thank you that it's not meant for me to heal. Thank you that it's just meant for me to acknowledge. Wow, thank you so much for that. Or you can be the agonized learner. Oh my God, I have to heal this. This is all up to me. I have to do it all by myself. And it's all up to me. And yeah, sure, I can ask the divine for help, but I'm not really asking the divine for help. What I'm really doing is I'm asking instead, make my plan work. make it do this, make it do that. Well, once again, the divine can't do for you what you're not willing to give. That's why we have all these painful lessons. That's why we go through all this pain and this suffering, because we're trying to do it all on our own. We're trying to do it all by ourselves. The only thing that you need do is be willing. Be willing to look at it differently. Be willing to ask for that help, and be willing to let go of every aspect of it and the beliefs that go with it. Because you may be like, well, I've given up everything to God about this. How's that working out for you? Because if you've given everything up, then why is there a problem? Because within the divine, there is no problems. There is only one problem that any of us really have: our belief that we could ever be separate from our source, or the belief that our source could ever leave us without, comfort, care, money, whatever the case may be. That's our only belief, that we are unworthy of that. Or the belief that we are autonomous and that we have created this whole situation, and it's all up to, once again, it's up to us to fix it. It's not up to you to fix it. Did I fix anything? No. I got on the phone, told them the story, what had been going on, and it was fixed for me. I didn't have to do anything. I just got on the phone and I let the divine speak for me and through me, because at one point this person did start to get a little irate, and I was just like, okay, divine, I want you to speak for me and through me. And then all of a sudden, just these words just start coming out of my mouth, and the person is immediately just like calmed. And I was just like, oh, all right. So that works. Just letting that happen. And that's what I do. Even before I get onto this show, my prayer is always the healer's prayer. I am only here to be truly helpful. I don't have to know what to do. I don't have to know what to say, because he who sent me will direct me. I will heal as he teaches me how to heal. My goal is peace. That's it. And then I can go into a situation, I can go into anything, because I have released the control of saying, this is what the show has to be, or this is where it has to go, or this is this, and this is that. Oh, you have to have a script in your head. What script do I have to have? I'm sitting, I'm talking, and I'm letting that divine inspiration that is already within me be expressed in this moment. That's it. And that's how easy it is. People may say, oh, but you have a special. I'm not special. And I tell people this all the time, and they're like, no, you are special. I'm not special, because anything I can do, you can do even greater. And I believe that about everyone. I may be really good at one aspect, but it doesn't mean that I am some sort of, all-powerful being that's like, oh, well, I'm the only one who can do this. As I have said before, and I will say again, anyone can do what I do. Anyone. I'm not special for doing it. All I simply have is a willingness to say, I don't know, and a willingness to let the divine flow through me and for me. And even right now, so here's our inspiration. So I have the beautiful Course in Miracles right here, and all I'm going to do, I just put my hands on either side of it, just like this. And it's a little bit of bibliomancy, because this is what I feel guided to do. And I just say, okay, Spirit, what is the message that we need to know? Just right here and right now. And you can do this not only with a spiritual book, you can do this with any book. And just whatever page we land on, that's what we get. So, your Father can no more forget the truth in you than you can fail to remember it. The Holy Spirit is the bridge to him, made from your willingness to unite with him and created by his joy in union with you. You can't make that shit up. What are we just talking about? Unity, our divinity with the divine. So that's how it can work. Now, did I sit there and say, okay, I need to make sure that I turn to page 340 in chapter 16. Make sure my eyes are drawn to paragraph number 12, and I only read to the period. No, there's no highlight, none at all, just empty page. And that's just what I was drawn to. That's letting the divine speak for you and through you. I didn't plan the message. I couldn't have planned the message. I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have. So I just said, Let it be what it is. And that's what the message was. So that's something that everyone can practice. You can practice letting go of control. And I always, always, and even in my new book, The Practical Mystic, which is not done. And so just so everyone knows, it is not done, but it's in the process of getting edited and so forth and so on. And so, but one thing I talk about in The Practical Mystic is this concept of taking it a little bit at a time. Like take one area of your life that you don't care too much about and start practicing letting go of control there, because you already don't really care about it. So it's not like there's not gonna be a lot of resistance. So maybe, and something I practiced when I first started was, just putting my hands over my heart. And why the heart? Because the heart is just where we say our center of love is. It's just like, okay, but it's just a symbol. You don't even have to put your hands there if it doesn't help you. But for me, it helped me. And just taking, 3 deep breaths and just being like, okay, which way should I turn? Love says, or my heart says, my intuition says. And then just going with that, going in whatever direction. Maybe it's left, maybe it's right, maybe it's straight ahead, but it's not necessarily something that you care too much about. And it's like, oh, if I go to the left, I know which way to go. If I go to the right, I know which way to go. Maybe you find out you dodged some heavy traffic. Maybe you find out you dodged an accident. Maybe as you went in that other way, it gave you an opportunity to just kind of go into a meditative state and be happy for 5 minutes. We don't know. It's not our job to. Our job is simply to follow the guidance that is given.
So true. So, so true. It's such a beautiful thing. And I love this right now because I'm about to leave and I've got my cats here and I have somebody come and take care of them, but I've got all this anxiety about, are they going to be okay? Because, I'm with them a lot and they're not going to have somebody with them a lot. So letting it go, surrendering it to the divine, knowing that they'll be taken care of, they'll be happy, they won't be panicking because there's not people around all the time. So, I have been so stressed out about that. So thank you for coming on today and sharing this. It's so timely. How are you feeling, T?
Oh yeah, I'm loving this because my theme for the year was surrender. And these are the steps that we have to continue to remind ourselves because, you can get swept up in things. It's like, wait, what would Ron do? No. No. And we can bring ourselves right back to, like Juju was saying, reset, refocus, readjust. And man, what a good feeling that is. It's like mastery.
Absolutely.
It is. And that's all that it is. It's just that constant until it becomes unconscious, till it becomes just a natural way of being. Like I said, I'm not there yet either. I still have to remind myself, wait a minute, what's my goal here? My goal is peace. My goal is not to move into the house. My goal is not to even have the house. And that's another really, really big one. When you say your goal is peace, that means you want peace above all else. Okay. And that was a really hard concept for me at first because I was like, okay, my goal is peace. That means I'm going to get what I want. No, my goal is peace. And that means that I am saying, if I don't get a house, then I don't get a house because my happiness is not in the house. My happiness and my peace are within me. Or, that this goes right. Well, if it goes right, once again, my happiness and my peace are not in that thing. They're already within me. It has nothing to do with what's out here. What's out here is a projection of our own thoughts and beliefs. That's why you keep hearing me say the world is not happening to me. It is happening from me. And I'll give you a little bit with that, simply to say that when I say that, it doesn't mean that because you're looking out and you see a war that you are consciously thinking about war and desolation and destruction and death. That's not what that means. What it does mean is it does mean that the reason you're seeing it is because somewhere in your mind you're still believing it. You're still believing that. And that's okay. It's just an opportunity for you to be like, okay, once again, the happy learner, thank you for showing me that this is still something that I believe in, and I must believe in it very heavily for it to show up in the real world as it is right now. Thank you so much. And, I'm willing to release this over to you. I'm willing to forgive myself for ever believing that this could be possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's such a big one. Like when you're talking about, letting go of needing a house or like that, obviously, well, brought up some resistance in me just listening to you talk about that. Because it's like, wait, we need those things. We can't be okay without those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It's about the peace. The peace will bring you everything you need. You just have to let go of what it looks like, your attachment
Yes.
to how it shows up. I love that so much. Karen Lee says, what can I say if I have to do something I hate every day over and over again when I don't understand the lesson?
And what you can do with that is, number one, asking yourself just a very powerful question. What must I believe in order for this to be happening? What do I have to believe? If I have to do this task every day, well, then I must believe something that is telling me, there must be a belief somewhere in my mind that is saying, I must do this, or I have to do this, or this is, the thing that has to happen. And then from there, it's about releasing the attachment to the way that you have viewed it from the day you started hating it to now. Because all you're really doing, all any of us are doing, is we are carrying the past with us into our next moment. And so we're wondering, well, I can take this just from my own life. I never really liked vegetables. Like, it just wasn't something I was into. My mom said as a child, like, she would just put like green on my plate and it would be gone. And then as I got older, for whatever reason, my taste changed and I didn't like it anymore. And so then as I started my journey to health, if you will, I was like, okay, why do I say that I hate these? Why do I say I don't like vegetables? Like, what's the belief behind here? Well, the belief was that they don't taste good. Well, how do I know if they don't taste good if I've never really tried them except when I was a baby or, 2 years old, and now I'm 30 years old and, haven't really eaten that much. So let's try something. So it was that trial and error and be like, and a beautiful Course in Miracles lesson is, I have given the meaning to everything I see. I've given it the meaning. I've given that task that I have to do the meaning of being a task that is just terrible. Think about, Jesus. He went to go wash people's feet. Do you think that he was sitting there being like, oh God, here we go again. All right, everyone, line it up. Let's go. I got to wash your feet. Or I got to, oh, you're sick again. Like, didn't we already heal this? And you're sick again? Or, oh, now you brought more people for me to heal? No, it was always, he didn't put a meaning on it. So we have to release, once again, surrender the meaning that we have given to things and let spirit inform us of the meaning that is either behind it or that it represents. And once we're willing to do that, once again, there has to be that willingness. I'm willing to be shown the truth. I'm willing to unite with my creator in the vision, not in perception, but in vision, which is very different. Then I'm going to be able to have this epiphany, this aha type of moment, because I've released control. I've released what it means to me. I've released the past. And now I can see it within the present moment, not from the past perception.
Love it. I love it. It's so good. Every time we hang out with you, it's just one aha after another and just so inspiring. Thank you so much. You are just incredible. We love you so much, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
It's my pleasure.
We appreciate you. Can you tell our viewers where they can find you?
Yes, if you are interested in more information about me, you can, of course, go find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Simply Intuitive. Simply Intuitive is all one word. You can go find me on Instagram just at Ron Schaefer, just all together, Ron Schaefer. Schaefer is Schaefer. Then you can also find me on YouTube, and it's just Ronald Schaefer AM for Awakening Miracles. You can then, of course, go to my website, which is www.awakeningmiracles, all one word, .org. And that's where you can find my website, where you can find out more information about me. You can find out some of my free online learning things that I have available, like my 8 weeks of guidance course, where I have 5 days where I recorded Facebook Lives that I did, where we talk about guidance and how to get there. You can look at my services. You can look at my different intuitive tips that I have available and my different courses, my online courses that I also have available, or if you're interested in booking a personalized one-on-one session with me, that is also available there. Oh, and you can also find me on Twitter at Simply Intuitive or Simply Intuitive. Yeah, I think it's either intuitive or intuit. It's one of those, but or you can just look up Ron Schaefer.
You're everywhere, which is perfect. And don't forget your Wednesdays. You do your Wednesday.
Oh yes, I haven't done those in a little bit since I moved, but yes, I do my Wisdom Wednesdays where I go live on my Facebook on Simply Intuitive, and I go live and I just talk about a spiritual topic. And it's just free to join. We talk about it, and I just kind of give you tips and tools based on the energies that we're kind of working with for that week. And thank you so much for saying that, Bex, because once again, divine timing. I will be going live. I believe it is probably on Wednesday of this week to do our August forecast to kind of see what are the energies that we're going to be working with for the month of August.
Very exciting. I can't wait to see. August feels like it's going to be so much better. It feels very, very uplifting. So it's going to be awesome. Very exciting. I'm not going to ask you the 3 questions because we've asked you those questions so many times.
Yes.
But do you have anything coming up that you would like to promote? I know you said the books in the works, so that's very exciting.
Yes.
Is there anything else? Any new programs or anything like that?
I just have my 8 weeks of guidance course, which can be done in a group or it can be done individually. That's something that I really enjoy doing because it gives me the opportunity to either work with you or work with you and a group. And if you do it in a group, it's always really fun because then at the end of the 8 weeks of guidance course, I actually split you up into groups or into partners if possible. And then you guys get to kind of give each other guidance. It's not necessarily, you're not reading cards, anything like that. If you want to do the cards, you can. But the way that I teach guidance, I'm just teaching you about your own personalized intuition, your own personal feelings, and how your intuition really communicates with you. So that's something that I always look forward to. I then, of course, have my online courses, which are pre-recorded modules that you can watch and do at your own leisure, at your own time. And of course, the personalized readings, or if you're not really interested in a reading and you just want more, I guess we could say, of just counseling or something along those lines, then I do have my Miracle Mindset counseling, which is basically where we have either 30 minutes to an hour where you just kind of tell me what's going on in your life in a certain area of your life. And, I will do my best within that 30 minutes to give you the 30 minutes to an hour of really just kind of counseling you and helping you to kind of see maybe what you're not seeing because you're the subjective, experiencer instead of the objective observer. And then of course, and Bex has actually been a part of that before where, you get homework, you get different tools, different tips, different things, Course in Miracles lessons that you can practice in order to help you.
Yes. And it was amazing. It was such an incredible experience. I looked forward to every session and it really brought me through a lot. And I have to tell you that, you probably won't remember, but our last session was at the beginning of the year. So you had me come up with what I wanted to manifest this year, what I wanted to bring in. And I said, more concerts. And in September, I'm going to one on my birthday and then one a couple days later. And I'm so excited about both of them. So that's more concerts. Very cool that it happened that way. Yeah. So it's going to be awesome. And, things have just shifted. Like I'm not feeling so, lost anymore, which is the best part. So for anybody who's even considering it, I highly recommend having sessions with Ron. Follow Ron. He is going to be such a pivotal, powerhouse. Like I said, he's a powerhouse in being able to bring about transformation, helping you to redirect your thoughts and bring yourself into alignment with the divine, which is, honestly, that's the best way to be. Because in that space, anything you could possibly dream of can happen. It's so worth it. So worth it. Thank you, Ron, so much for hanging out with us today. We just love you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure as always.
Okay, just real quick, we have our winner of last week's Share Out, who won the Soul Spa meditation, which is a journey to Egypt, and that is Lynn Marie. Congratulations. I'll be getting that information to you. And thank you guys so much. I will not be here for the next, I think, 3 shows. I'll be on vacation. Rhonda will be back next week when we have Nancy Louise and Rena Dwelly, which is very exciting. We love those women. They are such an awesome part of our spirit tribe. And so I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week, and we will see you soon.
Namaste. Thank you.